He was sent off for the first time, however, in an Arsenal shirt on 26 February during a 1-1 road draw with Southampton, following a lunge at left-back Graham Lissow, for which Wenger was seen yelling an obscenity at Van Persie from the sidelines. He then later lambasted his charge in the press. "I do not support Van Persie today, but he did not look out of control at halftime. When the referee has sent off a home player, he is under pressure, so, if any player had to behave, it was him." Meanwhile, Telegraph sports writer Clive White described Van Persie in his match report as 21 going on 9. Van Persie was consequently benched for a number of games, starting with Arsenal's upcoming replay in the FA Cup against Sheffield United, and he was reintroduced into the squad only after Henry was out with a calf injury, and his return to the first team saw him score twice in a cup semi-final win over Blackburn Rovers. He came on as a substitute in the final and scored one of the penalties in the shootout as Arsenal beat Manchester United. The end of Van Persie's season was disrupted by injury, and he finished with 10 goals in 41 appearances in all competitions. Van Persie's good form at the start of the 2005-06 season earned him the Premier League Player of the Month award for November 2005 after 8 goals in 8 starts, and he was rewarded with a 5-year contract extension until 2011 on 4 January. 2 days after signing the contract, however, Van Persie was again hit by injury when an opponent stepped on his foot and broke his toe during an FA Cup match against Cardiff. Van Persie played the next 3 matches with a hole cut into his shoe to alleviate the pain until he was finally rested for Arsenal's Premier League match against West Ham United on 1 February. 12 He was an unused substitute in Arsenal's first Champions League final appearance, a 2-1 loss to Barcelona. The beginning of the 2006-07 season included an airborne volley against Charlton Athletic that Wenger called the goal of a lifetime and was later named BBC Sports Goal of the Month for September, and he capped off the calendar year by being named the 2006 Rotterdam Sportsman of the Year. His season, however, ended early for the second time in his career on 21 January, when he fractured the 5th metatarsal in his right foot while celebrating his late equalizer in a match against Manchester United. Although Van Persie was injured for a large part of the season, he still managed to finish as Arsenal's top goalscorer with 13 goals in all competitions. After Henry departed for Barcelona prior to the 2007-08 season, Van Persie assumed the role as Arsenal's main striker. Following a streak of 7 goals in 10 regular season games, Van Persie was sidelined for 2 months with a knee injury suffered on international duty. He made his comeback in Arsenal's Champions League group stage win over Steaua Bucharest on 12 December and made his Premier League return in the win against Chelsea over the weekend. He picked up, however, a recurrent injury that kept him sidelined until January when he played 45 minutes in a League Cup game against Tottenham Hotspur. He was withdrawn at halftime following another injury scare and featured sporadically throughout the rest of the campaign. Van Persie opened his 2008-09 account on 31 August with a brace in Arsenal's 3-0 league victory over Newcastle United. On 29 October, he scored his 50th career Arsenal goal in a 4-4 home draw with North London Derby rivals Tottenham, but was hit with his first red card of the season on 1 November after knocking down goalkeeper Thomas Sorensen with a shoulder charge in a 2-1 loss to Stoke City. Sorensen later admitted to teasing Van Persie in an attempt to provoke a reaction. On 30 November, he scored a brace against Chelsea to help Arsenal come from behind and pick up a 2-1 victory at Stamford Bridge. 35 On December 21, 2008. He scored a spectacular goal against Liverpool, which was later named the second BBC Goal of the Month of his career. With captain Cesc Fabregas injured and regular stand-in skipper Manuel Almunia rested, Van Persie captained Arsenal for the first time on January 3, 2009 for the club's 3-1 FA Cup third-round victory over Plymouth Argyle. Van Persie scored Arsenal's first and third goals, while the second was a result of his cross being deflected into the net by a Plymouth player for an own goal. In January 2009, every Arsenal goal that month was either scored or assisted by Van Persie, which earned him the club's Player of the Month award. his most inspirational display being against Hull City, where he struck the post with a free kick, and provided 3 assists to his teammates. He later received the Man of the Match award. On 24th of February, Van Persie scored a crucial penalty that earned Arsenal a 1-0 win over Roma in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 encounter, after he was fouled by defender Philippe Maxès. He followed it up with a 5th Champions League goal by converting another penalty against Villarreal in a 3-0 victory. On the final day of the Premier League, Van Persie scored a brace against Stoke City, which guaranteed him for the second time in his career as Arsenal's top scorer. He had his best season overall for Arsenal as he scored 11 Premier League goals, along with a league-leading 11 assists and a career best of 20 goals in all competitions. Van Persie was named the 2008-09 Arsenal.com Player of the Season.